Convenience Store News' POV series, where we share perspectives on the current issues and trends that are shaping the C-store industry. Today, we're joined by Perry Kuklin, Director of Marketing and Business Development for Lavi Industries, to discuss one of the most undervalued profit centers in convenience stores, the checkout area, and how it can be transformed into a powerful driver of store performance. Lavi Industries is a manufacturer of queue management and customer flow solutions. For more than 40 years, the company has been helping organizations across the globe improve customer experience and capitalize on ROI boosting opportunities. Perry, thanks so much for being here with me today.
Thanks for having me.
So to start, why is the checkout area such an important part of the convenience store?
So there's three big reasons that make checkout so important: the convenience promise, incremental revenue, and it being pretty much the last touch point in that particular visit. So when we look at the convenience promise, C-stores, one of their main reasons for existing is speed, right? The convenience factor, people being able to come in and out quickly, conveniently, very easily. And that promise can really be won or lost at checkout. It makes it a very, very important area in the store. A slow, confusing experience really can destroy that whole value proposition, create frustration and all sorts of bad feelings. Have customers leave in frustration, abandon their purchase. Actually, about 15% of customers will abandon their purchase after just 1 minute of waiting in line. An additional 28% will skip even going inside if they feel the line, if they can see the line and feel it's too long. So the checkout is not just the end of the transaction. It's really a critical factor in determining if a transaction even happens. The second real important factor is obviously incremental revenue. So the checkout is just probably one of the most valuable pieces of real estate within that store. Your customers' wallets are out, right? They're ready to buy. There's been retail science done on what's called decision fatigue. And this is a factor that plays into customers are kind of worn down by the shopping experience. And by the time they're at checkout, they are much more open to making last minute impulse decisions. And that's why checkout really is a perfect opportunity for impulse retail. A Lavi case study in a large retailer of ours proved that we saw increases of 64% of increase in transactions, 130% increase in actual purchases, and gross profit, just soaring. And this is not by rebuilding the store or even remodeling the store. This is simply just by redesigning the queue and adding in appropriate queue merchandise. The last point that makes it so important is it really is the last touch point that a customer has in the visit. And it's arguably the most memorable part of the visit. The recency effect really has customers disproportionately weighing the last experience they have in this store. So that's really going to set the tone for how they feel about the overall visit. It really is the last opportunity to leave customers with a good impression of your brand and the store experience. A fast checkout, an easy checkout, an efficient checkout can turn an okay experience into really a loyal customer, a really loyal visit, and bring them back again and again. A confusing or frustrating visit really poisons the visit, even if the rest of the visit was spot on.
Yeah, wow. A lot at stake at the checkout. It's a real make or break moment. And that stat you shared about, a 1 minute wait time, that's, it's really critical margins there.
Mm-hmm.
So what frequent mistakes do you see convenience store operators making around the checkout?
Well, there's so many mistakes, but there's two that really stand out that we see happen over and over and over again. And the first It's why I'm here talking about impulse merchandising at checkout, is that there's no queue structure. So there's no queue at all, really. Operators, sometimes with no fault of their own, or they're just not thinking about it, they allow chaos to define the waiting experience. There's no defined queue. There's no signage. There's no wait point. There's literally no structure. Customers are left on their own to battle that journey to the register. And the result is chaos. There's clusters at the counter, maybe blocking the store entrances. Customers might cut in line. They don't know who's next. The wait seems longer because customers are confused and frustrated. And a confused wait, a frustrated wait, might seem like an unfair wait. Maybe somebody cut in line with them because, they didn't see them. And so all of that really, that chaos really is what creates just a frustrating experience for the customer. There's been some research, and it shows that perceived wait time matters just as much as actual wait time. So, I said earlier that after a minute, 15% abandon. But what if somebody waits 2 minutes, but it only seems like they waited 45 seconds? And that can happen when there's order and structure. And when there's order and structure to the wait, and when you can keep your customers busy, the wait feels shorter. And there's all sorts of strategies to do that. One of the ways to make the wait actually be shorter is with a single line queue. And a single line queue also allows you to be really efficient in setting up merchandise to impulse buys within that queue. The food service areas, that are becoming so popular in C-stores really make waiting and that checkout experience a lot more complex. Right? Where do they place their orders for that? Where do they wait for their orders for that? Where do they pay? Is there a separate line for that? Is it the same line? Are they blocking while they're waiting? Are they blocking other really important areas of the store, high margin areas, the store entrance, whatever? Really, we come to market to create the flow in, through, and out of the store. We don't just think of the checkout queue because it's really the entire space. And really, this concept of looking at checkout holistically through the lens of the entire store has really become the operational challenge of modern C-stores. The second big mistake you see is failing to monetize the queue. It's really a costly mistake. You're leaving checkout as empty, uncommitted floor space. A lot of operators treat checkout as just functional. There's no fixtures, there's no product, there's no promotion. And the result is thousands of customer minutes per day not generating revenue. They're just standing around waiting to spend what, they pulled off the other shelves. So our data, like I said earlier, has found in-queue merchandising can boost those impulse sales 130% or more, and that's a huge amount of revenue. Next Track, our impulse merchandising queuing system, is designed specifically for checkout. It solves a lot of these problems naturally. It creates a structure. It provides convenient product displays. It provides built-in functional, promotional, and advertising signage, along with wayfinding signage. And it really turns this idle space, it turns wait time into active purchases.
Yes, so much potential there. So we talked about the mistakes. In your expert opinion, what would you say are the must-dos for a successful checkout experience that's seamless, enhances business, and doesn't detract?
So I guess the biggest must-do is design for a single-line queue. This sets you up for success in so many different areas. First of all, it is the most effective structural change. It will improve actual wait time. And it also makes the merchandising of your products a lot more efficient. And you're not only merchandising on the queue, but you're able to merchandise on the outside of the queue too, which sometimes is the most traffic area of the stores as you're moving in and out of from the store entrance. A single line queue is fairer, it's less frustrating, and it reduces not just actual wait time, but perceived wait time because of the structure that it brings. You're not thinking, oh, did I choose the right line? You're all in there and the line moves quickly, and it's just a really good experience. The second must do is signage. Don't keep your customers in the dark. Inform them. Let them know what is expected of them, where they should go, what they can do. Signage is a must. And to be honest, it's the single most overlooked aspect in almost any retail space, but particularly in C stores. Even C stores that put a structured queue in, and even C stores that we see that want to merchandise or do some sort of merchandising, they forget about signage. Where is the queue entrance? Where do people enter the queue? Where's the wait point? Where does self-checkout people go? What happens with food service? How do they order? Where do they pay? Is it a separate line? Is it not? All of these can be answered really simply, really directly, and really effectively with signage. And it has the added benefit of being promotional and advertising as well, if it integrates within the queue and within the merchandise that you have there. And lastly, it's planning the flow. So you shouldn't just plop down a queue and hope that it works, right? There needs to be some planning, some thinking around what that looks like, what the layout is going to be. And so we work with customers all the time in understanding, how do customers approach the queue? Where are they coming from? Is there one store entrance? Are there two? Are there three? Where are bottlenecks likely to happen? Where does the queue overflow go? Because you certainly, when the queue expands pretty rapidly, you don't want to blocking high margin areas. You don't want to blocking the store entrance. And is that flow through your whole store and then through the checkout process a one-directional flow? Does it go from queue entrance to wait point to counter service and then out the store in a nice linear flow that doesn't cause collisions and other inefficiencies within that flow of the store? So we, with decades of experience, we work with our C stores to help them plan that flow, plan growth opportunities, understand how the store changes over time. And we really help them optimize that flow and take advantage of the revenue generation that naturally happens when you merchandise the queue.
Well, thank you, Perry, for those wonderful insights. I am certainly going to look at the checkout area differently when I go into convenience stores from now on. And thank you again for joining Convenience Store News and sharing your POV on this important topic.
My pleasure. Thank you again.